Welcome to the Misophonia podcast. This is season 6, episode 30. My name's Adil Ahmad, and I have misophonia. This week I'm talking to Wairimu, a college student in Kenya. This was exciting because I think it's my first interview with someone based in Africa. It's great to see there's an audience all over the world because we're everywhere. Now, if I could just get some people on here from Asia. We talked today about how she feels actually like she has enough agency on her life to keep her misophonia generally under wraps. We talk about ADHD, being in a large family where many of her siblings also have various triggers, her coping methods, and just what the general take is on misophonia and mental health in her region of Africa. After the show, let me know what you think. You can always reach me by email at hello@misophoniapodcast.com or hit me up on Instagram or Facebook at Misophonia Podcast. By the way, please drop a quick rating or review wherever you listen to this show. It always just helps drive us up in the algorithms and reach more people all over the world. Thanks for the incredible ongoing support of our Patreon supporters. And if you feel like contributing, you can go to patreon.com/Misophonia Podcast. And before we get started, one other thing I want to mention, I've decided to start a misophonia coaching service. So that would mean meetings with me virtually. And it could be whatever duration you like. I'm still trying to figure out details like that and kind of how often to do them. But if you want to reach me and talk to me about that, you can email me at hello@misophoniapodcast.com, or you can go to the link in my Instagram, and there is a form you can fill out with some more details. But yeah, I'm looking forward to helping more people, coach them through managing misophonia. And that could be, you could be a misophonia yourself, or you could be a parent. But seeing as though I've heard quite a bit, and I've heard many coping methods and strategies, I'd love to help you come up with a plan and help you manage misophonia a little better in your life. All right. Now let's get to my conversation with Wairimu. Wairimu, welcome to the podcast. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
So do you want to tell folks kind of whereabouts you are?
Currently, I'm in Kenya, but I'm originally from Uganda. And for those who don't know where that is, that's in the East African region, east of Africa. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I totally tangent, but I manage a team of engineers. Two of them are in Nigeria. One of them's in Libya. So I'm pretty familiar with at least that, I talk to people from Africa all the time.
It's like people like to show, like, most people abroad think like Africa is like one giant region, but like it's so diverse.
No, it's big.
Yeah. So I know what you're thinking.
So yeah. So I think now I forget. I feel like, did we connect on Twitter for somehow? I believe maybe.
Connected on Twitter.
Yeah. So I don't even remember what it was about, but I guess maybe do you want to start? Actually, tell me what you do. What you do out there in Kenya?
Okay, so I'm a student in my first year, pursuing a Bachelor of Commerce at a university called Strathmore University, and I'm also I'm still finding my specialization, but it's more into digital marketing. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess how's maybe let's start with kind of how's misophonia these days for you? You're in school. What are your biggest challenges these days?
I don't really have I'm not really challenged right now as I was before. Before I really understood that there were sounds out there that would trigger me into panic or total shutdown or unreasonable anger. Right now they're still there because sometimes cars get overwhelming, like the sound of cars, and I live near an airport, so the sound of planes flying above. So I just try to stay as far away as I can from trigger sounds. Yeah, and I keep it as quiet as I can. Yeah.
So sounds like you have more control now. You're in college, as a lot of people have more control over their surroundings.
College gives you
Yeah. I'm glad you're taking advantage of that. It sounds like things were more difficult earlier on. Do you want to share kind of how things started for you when you first started noticing problems?
Okay. I think my misophonia is heavily linked to my ADHD. So, okay, it is linked, and most times I would like I have a very big family, so like there would be so much going on, and I would literally get so angry. But like I would, you can't start bursting out in anger. Uh, People like there's nothing that has happened, and all of a sudden you're angry, and like there's no way to explain it because I also didn't know what it was. I would be so angry and irritated. Um, Cutlery banging, one of my family members is really good at that. Like they'll bang folks around the area for like a good 10 minutes. So I would be
Wow.
tortured. Yeah, it's insane. And then uh we have a thing in Africa called like a downtown center, like where
Hmm.
many people go to shop because the prices are friendly. So it's always crowded, and I would always get panic attacks and shut down because the noise, the smells, and everything would be too much for me. But especially the noise, I would get, I would shut down. But like my family wouldn't understand what's happening. So yeah, once I understood that that was misophonia, I've just avoided crowds and all kinds of trigger sounds from then on. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you know, like, you said you had a big family, and I guess, one question
Mm,
comes up is,
mm.
like, did anyone else have issues too? You were kind of the only one who, like, it was
Yeah.
very loud, but you had this different thing. You were the only one who had this issue. I guess maybe, yeah. Well, first of all, did anyone else in your family also show signs
Turns
of
out
this
they
kind of
did. They're
reaction?
just better at hiding it, or they're not very
Mm,
vocal. Um, but their trigger sounds are different from mine. But like I, I would say like 75% of my family members, my close family, have have misophonia, and they hate loud sounds. They hate
mm.
doors banging, yeah, doors banging especially, and dogs barking and just unnecessary sound in the background, and it really irritates them to the point of anger. So yeah,
Yeah. Were they all these 75%? So are you talking about your like siblings or like also
my
parents
parents,
and
yeah,
yeah, okay.
I, yeah.
Was it the 25% who were making the sounds or was it
I think it's the 25% that are making the sound, but also
yeah.
sometimes if your trigger sound isn't that, like for example, me and my siblings don't share trigger sound, so sometimes
Mm,
I will be the cause of that trigger sound, but I didn't know it was their trigger sound until they told me. So
right.
it's really hard to. It's sometimes we sometimes uh create other people's trigger sounds without knowing that they are their trigger sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
before you guys knew it had a name, like how were you how what was the environment like? Were you um was everyone getting mad at each other or was there some support because there was some understanding that there was a shared issue?
There was an under there was a, before it had a name, before I found out that why I was getting angry. You just get so irritated and keep quiet because we have a very high power distance in African households. Like um the mother and the father have a lot of authority, right?
Hmm.
And the children have to listen to that authority. So most trigger sounds come from my parents. So you
Yeah.
can't just go and say, "Oh, stop doing this," or "Stop doing that." It's like you have to be so respectful. So you just endure it, and you try to reduce the effect as much as you can. Yeah,
Right.
just
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. And then at some point you found out it had a name. How did that happen?
It's like I was just actually it's quite strange. I was doing research about a product that could reduce certain irritating noises. That was what I was
Mm,
searching for. I was searching for earphones that cancel out. irritating
Yeah.
noises. Like I can hear someone talk, but if there's someone chewing in the background, that noise is cancelled out. So I was looking if such a product had been made because I wanted to buy it. And
Yeah.
then I went down a rabbit hole, and then I find out, oh, so there are conditions to this, and then that's how I landed in misophonia. Then I searched up people who had misophonia, and then I landed on your page on Twitter. So yeah.
Yeah. And did you run and tell your siblings?
Oh, I told them. Oh, I told them because I told, especially my one of my siblings is really sensitive to like a lot of sounds. I was like, so I
Yeah.
think you have misophonia. She's like, what's that? I'm like, you're very sensitive to sounds. I was like, oh, I am actually. I'm like, yeah. So it tells me, okay, so do not bang the doors. I hate it. I want to kill you for doing it. I'm like, okay, yeah, no more banging doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and so it wasn't until after you told her it had a name that she was like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, it drives me crazy when you bang doors."
No, she said it before, but like we
Oh, okay,
didn't
okay,
know it was a condition. But when I
yeah,
actually came and told her, okay, listen, it's a condition, we had a calm talk about it. It's like, okay, so do
yeah.
not bang doors, do not do this, don't scratch your nails and things. Yeah, and I told her
Has
my
it
true
has it
sound. Yeah.
yeah has it helped a lot since at least you guys being able to work together or help each other about it with
What
your
it
each of
helped
your
me,
independent triggers.
yeah, it helped me. I'm not sure. I tried to reduce how many trigger sounds I make by studying each of
Hmm.
them. So I think it also helped. But I couldn't really live together anymore. So I don't know about it now. So yeah.
Yeah. Did and you said that it's definitely linked to your ADHD. Like, did you get a diagnosis for any of these things?
Yeah, I got a diagnosis for ADHD.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And did you mention to doctors about misophonia at all?
Um, no, no, not really. But that's why I said I think it's linked because I did
Yeah.
some reading, and most people with ADHD have misophonia. So, or some a good number.
There's definitely an overlap. Yeah, yeah. No, I was just curious. Yeah, if doctors were even aware in Kenya about misophonia, because they're not all aware here, or any country. I don't know any country where it's very well known. Um,
I think you just have to
and,
go to
and
the right doctor.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, everywhere you just gotta have to define the right one.
Wow.
How did your and then you told your siblings. You must have told your parents maybe about misophonia, or how did they how are they acting about it now?
I haven't told my parents.
Okay,
Um, they don't really believe in that, so we just take
they
it
don't
one day at
believe
a time.
in you're like they're not going to believe in that. Do they or mental health stuff in general? You think?
Just, I think one of them is more liberal, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one is like, okay, mental health is real. But it's not something that you should make a daily thing. Like, come on, it's stronger than that. So that's how. She tell you, okay, you have a trigger sound, mm, you'll be fine. Something like
Toughen
that.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Snap out of it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's kind of a similar reaction everywhere. Um,
It's like parents from some a certain generation have a certain level of perceiving things. But I think it's fine. It's like they went through their own fair share of trouble, so it's who they are. Yeah.
did what about your friends at school and whatnot? Did school trigger you? How did your friends deal with it?
Yeah. I went to a school with like a lot of people. So I came to learn that you can't control everyone. Like you can't control someone out there is going to make a trigger sound. The teacher is choke will scrape against the blackboard, someone will drag a chair, someone will bang cutlery, and you can't control all that. So I just had to learn how to like reduce um contact or places where the trigger sounds are highest. So for example, and also my reaction, like I don't fly out in rage. I acknowledge that I'm angry, but I don't fly out in rage about about it irritating me. Because quite frankly, it's like we're many. So what if I am creating someone's trigger sound? I like just have to learn how to process it in a large crowd and avoid places of with many stimulating things. Yeah, like I really avoid crowds these days. I can't emphasize that enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so your coping mechanism is largely the just avoid situations where you think you'll be triggered most
Yeah,
likely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. There's no reason to put myself through that. If I'm to do that, it has to be for something really, really
a
urgent,
really good reason. Yeah,
really good reason to put me through that. Of which I'm going to be wearing headphones or noise cancelling. I don't know, earbuds or something. Something has to be in my ears. I can't just go in there. Yeah.
yeah, go in
No.
there blind or go in there
No. And I'll try
without
to get
any
a time.
tools.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you said you originally had looked for you're looking for some devices. You know, I guess what are your go-tos now? It sounds like headphones. Are there particular headphones or earbuds that you use?
I found that I also don't like silence, complete silence in my ears.
Yeah.
Because also I wanted headphones that cancel out a specific sound. So it's just music. I try to listen to calming music
Hmm.
at minimal volume so I can still hear my environment while I'm walking.
Hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, that's when I'm out. But I'm rarely in places that mm, trigger my misophonia
Yeah.
or with trigger sounds. But if I'm in such areas, my headphones are in. Yeah.
And for your ADHD, what did they end up doing for you? The doctors. What was their advice? Was it therapy? Was it something else?
So it turns out, I think it's just going to have to be therapy.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and
Like cognitive
learning,
behavioral therapy.
yeah, therapy, learning about, reading more about it because I can't, because understanding your disease or your mental health situation gives you more power than
Hmm.
anything in this world. So it was just learning how to talking to people who are actually experienced in this, so that's therapy, and reading more and finding more coping mechanisms and how to prevent myself from falling down into a rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and what about have you talked to other friends? I mean, outside of your siblings, have you met anyone else who has misophonia in person, maybe in Kenya?
Mm, no, I don't think, not really.
Hmm.
I don't think
Hmm.
people call it misophonia. They just say, this sound makes me want to end you. So, they
Was
don't
there a
call
word
it.
for that? This sound makes you want to end you. Is there a
Yeah, it's like,
translation? Yeah.
don't do that. I'm going to throw you out of my room. So they just said that I
Yeah.
just said, okay. We won't
Gotcha.
get into details. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, and so when you get together with your family, when you go back home, are you like mentally preparing that it's going to be rough, or you just throw your
Yeah.
headphones on? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But over the years, it has come down a lot. And I think it's heavily attributed to the fact we just become more aware of who we are as individuals in the household. So yeah, we just we just taking it a day at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. And do you
Yeah.
and you say you don't have I forget if I asked you, have you told any of your friends that you have misophonia? Can you please like be more sensitive maybe around me?
Surprisingly, it hasn't come up because
Hmm.
the friends I have, again, make the numbers few. Don't really aren't the kind. They don't make certain sounds. They they have never made my trigger sound, so I've never really
Mm.
had the chance. It has never really come up to tell them like, you know what, okay, So don't make the sounds they trigger me because the more silent people, the more silent, the better. So yeah, I guess I'm lucky in that aspect.
Gotcha. Have you had friends who were loud and they kind of like gradually left your kind of like circle of friends?
Yeah, I had those ones, and I just inch farther away from them without really making them the problem. So yeah, it's like
Yeah. So it
just
has kind of affected maybe your social life a little bit by kind
oh,
of helping you filter.
I yeah, filtering your friends really leaves you with countable friends, like on the
Yeah.
fingers on your hand, one hand.
Right.
Yeah.
What about work? Have you? I know you're in university now. Have you had jobs where you've had to deal with misophonia?
Mm, Currently, I wouldn't say I've had any.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, because I'm trying to work online as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when I'm working online, the interaction with human beings is minimal. And when we meet physically, it's more of it's it's get business done, and it's like it's not loud, it's calm and
Yeah.
tranquil. So I've not really had to deal with any of that. I've
Well,
really
that's the good
gone
thing
to
about it. Yeah.
pardon?
No, I was gonna say that's the good thing about online work is that you can
Yeah.
choose your surrounding.
Yeah, it heavily chooses around it. Yeah. So I think I'm going to continue with the online working thing because it's really helped me thrive as a person. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're studying too is gonna lend itself to being online more too. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, very very interesting. Okay, um, yeah, and I guess again maybe do you remember kind of like your first triggers? I know it sounds like you sound like you had a very loud environment. I'm just curious, like around what age was it? Was it around the 8 to 10? Um,
But as far back as I can remember,
yeah.
the one trigger sound I've always had is no, there are two. Um, teachers chalk dragging against
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chalkboard, and it makes it speaking. I'm actually I'm retracting myself because it's so irritating.
Just thinking about it. Yeah, yeah.
It enters to the core of your bone and just rattles from there. And then people dragging their chairs on the floor like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah,
Those are my earliest trigger sounds. And then there's something called sensory overload. Um
right.
yeah, so when then I remember because most times when I was young, my mom would handle all my shopping, all that shopping. So you just come home and yeah. But then when I got older, she would like okay, now you have to be more responsible. So going in crowds to like shop and like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many voices coming at you from every direction. That really would trigger me to shut down. Yeah. So those are the trigger sounds I can remember earliest from like
Yeah.
crowds and yeah.
And when you say shut down, what would you do? Would you just kind of like I don't know, just kind of like dissociate from the people around you and just kind of like
Yeah, I just
slow down?
enter this foul mode like it's so bad. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? I'm like, I actually don't know why I'm angry, but I am. And it's like I stop like all reasoning leaves. Like it leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm no longer a reasonable human being. I'm just emotional. I'll
Mm-hmm.
reach points where I just stand and like I just stand in the middle of the road because I'm so overwhelmed and like some I just feel like every the world is crashing on me. So I basically retract into this little cave of mine in my mind to try and like retain some sort of control over the situation. So yeah, that's shutting down for me.
Yeah, well, I think that's a feeling that many of us can understand and share.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
when you guys were when you were growing up, like, was there any stress or tense situation around the house? Anything out of the ordinary that you can point to as maybe being slightly, I don't know, traumatizing?
I don't think so
Hmm.
because if it's there, um, I don't remember it. I actually had a very happy childhood, except for
Hmm.
those moments of the teacher dragging his chalk
Yeah,
against the chalkboard.
yeah.
Yeah, but my childhood was pretty happy. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And just jumping back to school now, like, it sounds like, you say you have a little bit more control, but, when you're doing exams or when you're in class, like, are you looking for or able to get any kind of accommodations from your school to kind of like help you, like, not do a final exam in the middle of a room of, trigger sounds?
Um, if I had my school would cater for me, but it's like a Catholic school, so
Hmm.
silence is everything.
Mm,
Yeah, it's like there's an area for all students and staff and everyone to meet. So that one is always loud and it's understandable because everyone is meeting there, talking, and it's like a social center. But other academic places are uh, not allowed to make a lot of noise because the people always studying. So you're supposed to
yeah.
keep your voice to the minimum, and so there aren't really a lot of trigger sounds. If there are exams in progress, people aren't really allowed that area, and in the examination room, it's really quiet, so you won't hear anything. So yeah,
So that quiet culture of your Catholic school kind of works in your favor.
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha. And were you I'm curious, were you going to a church a lot growing up? Because a lot of people have said, um, the sounds in a church can be triggering because it's, people can be going and coughing, but it's very quiet and they'll
yeah.
get triggered.
Okay, I grew up Catholic, right?
Hmm.
We didn't really go to church a lot, but the times we went to church, I found it actually very peaceful
Hmm.
because of how it's so organized and the choirs sing in in sync with themselves. I don't know how if that makes sense, but they've practiced enough and everything is just perfect.
It sounds
The bell,
good. Yeah.
yeah, the bell sound at the right time. So there's order, and if it's not the priest or the choir, you're supposed to be silent. So yeah, because I've been
Hmm.
in a really silent environment. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of a good refuge
yeah,
for, um, and have you, I guess it sounds like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like in terms of where you are now in school, pretty good situation, and kind of like
yeah.
your career, is kind of a path that should each give you some control. Yeah, I mean, I don't, and what about your living situation right now? I guess are you in a, do you have roommates?
I kind of live alone right now,
Hmm.
so yeah, no noise for me. I'm
Well, that's
really
great.
I'm really thriving right now. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it
That's
sounds like
all
it.
I can
Well, it sounds like you've kind of like, yeah, I mean, but it's like, you're kind of doing this on purpose. Like, are you thinking towards the future? You're still young, but like, um, do you have any plans for kind of like how you want to maintain that
say.
thriving situation?
Yeah, yeah. Because when I texted you around the time, um, I one of my family members had like made a had created one of my
Mm,
trigger sounds, and I had this irrational feeling to get a plate and bang it over their heads. I don't even know where it came from, but like I was
hmm.
like, I just wanted to end. So I was like, okay, so this is not normal. This isn't
Yeah.
right. So that's why I said power, knowledge is power. Once I found out what it was, I read more into it. I have worked to create an environment for myself where I'm peaceful and I can thrive. And yeah, the school I'm in, the place I live, the people I interact with, uh, the places I go to relax are all quiet and have more soothing sounds than annoying sounds. So yeah, I think everyone should just try to create that like the life they want.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's not. It is possible. Um, before you found out, what did you have any like quite did you have any reactions that you'd rather that you regretted, basically, or was it kind of did it all just stay in your head
Do I have any reactions to
in
misophonia
terms
that
of
I
like
regret?
lashing out at people or maybe throwing a plate?
Like I told you, in an African homestead, the power distance is high. You're not going to throw a plate and survive.
Are you looking at other you said you're trying to do therapy for ADHD. Are you still maybe looking at I don't know, exploring? Looks like you've gone down some rabbit holes in the past. Are you looking at I don't know, exploring other um therapy options for misophonia that in the future,
Um,
or just
I
try
don't
to
think I'm looking for
stay away from
any
sounds?
other options in the future because for me it shuts me down. But also, um, if I hear a trigger sound, but I'm not really stressed out, I can handle it better, right? But if I'm in a situation that's really stressing me out, and then I hear a trigger sound, it's like I'm just going to fly off the handle. So, of course, in my mind, because you can't lose control in public. Um, I think right now, if I'm to really control mi- misophonia perfectly, is to create an environment where I can work well. Sometimes to get uncomfortable, but I want to make sure that those times of work are discomfort.
Yeah, and you're talking about, yeah, stress is definitely something where if you go into a situation stress, it's not good news if you have
Yeah, no,
misophonia,
that's not.
because your nervous system is compromised and all that stuff. Also, like sleep, getting enough sleep can make a big
Uh,
difference.
yeah, and and I think just telling people around me like, okay, it'd be really great if we avoided this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like these sounds make me really want to um scratch your eyes out. So if you could just avoid them, that would be great. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, yeah. I mean, obviously your siblings would know that. Sounds like the friends you've chosen are pretty good as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Um, and yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I guess in Kenya, what's the kind of the awareness of mental health in general? I haven't really talked to many people from Africa about
Mhm.
misophonia. I'm curious, like, what is is there general awareness of misophonia? Obviously, there is for mental health everywhere. I'm just curious, you know, in general, is there any misophonia awareness, and how is kind of mental health looked at? I know how it's looked at it in your family with your parents, but I'm just curious kind of how it is looked at in Kenya, Eastern Africa in general.
Yeah. Well, generally, um, I think all East African region have this thing of mental health really doesn't impact your life as much as they say it is. And
Hmm.
I'm not really from Kenya. I'm from Uganda.
Uganda, right?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So the myth in Uganda is like, okay, it's really minimal. I've not met people who know much about it. If they know about it, they don't really care about it that much. It's very, very few people who really care about mental health. But the good news is, on the general, mental health issues are the topic is becoming uh, more and more popular every day, and people are asking themselves more questions, reading more about mental health, trying to incorporate as much help as they can for like mental health without like compromising the values and beliefs that the culture and the community holds as a whole. Yeah, so it's becoming a popular topic, and I think that there's hope in the future for it. So
Yeah, like everywhere, there's slow
yeah.
progress, but hopefully going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Um, that's great. Well, I mean, I guess yeah, I mean, yeah, we covered quite a few things. Actually, I was curious. I'm sorry, if you've heard any episodes, you know I ask random questions, but
Mm.
do you know about any other family members, like I don't know, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins that may have misophonia or symptoms like that?
Um, I don't really know any. Not
Yeah,
I'm not seen any exhibit. Um, but I think I'm really looking through my memories, and I feel like I've had an aunt or an uncle somewhere around grumble or complain about a certain sound in the background. So yeah, they may or may not have misophonia. I can't really judge a conclusion. If they have it, they've been quiet about it. Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so everyone's always curious about how it
yeah.
is in families or whether there's a genetic component or whatnot. Cool. Well,
That's very,
yeah. Well, yeah, Wairimu, you know, you're kind of, I think you're the first person actually from the African continent to come on the show. So hopefully we'll reach more people. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure
yeah.
there's lots of people suffering in silence in Africa like there are everywhere else. And anything, yeah, anything you want to share with anyone else actually around the world who's listening.
Okay, so anyone who's listening, um, w- your mental health disorder is not something you asked for, but it's something you have. So you should live a life that's responsible. I think that's what changed my life. Like, be responsible for the people you let in, the boundaries you set, how you perceive yourself, who you are, um, or making steps to get well. Like, generally, be responsible for your well being and just love yourself and live every day. I guess that's my advice.
Yeah, well, self-compassion is an important part, not just something that should happen in general, but it's research is kind of, I think, going in that direction where
Yeah,
you know, self-compassion, taking care of yourself, and for folks who had a kind of a rough past, self-compassion is even more important, and some of that, you know, plays into misophonia. So
yeah,
yeah, those important words to live by. And I think hopefully people will be inspired by the fact that you've just been able to kind of really control your environment and thrive
yeah,
and be happy. Still have misophonia, and you know it's not going to go away permanently for anyone anytime soon. Yeah, hopefully it will, but we'll see. Maybe I think there is a lot of research, so that some stories might be coming out where people are curing themselves. But if you haven't, you're an example of being able to live happy with it. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely want
So
to congratulate you on doing that for yourself.
thank you, thank you.
This will be an interesting one, and yeah, like I said, yeah, it's great. I'm glad you reached out, and
Yeah,
yeah, thanks for coming on, Wairimu.
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Wairimu. It's great to hear you're feeling positive, and I hope this episode reaches many more ears in Africa. If you like this episode, don't forget to leave a quick review or just hit the 5 stars wherever you listen to this podcast. You can hit me up by email at hello@misophoniapodcast.com or go to the website, misophoniapodcast.com. It's easiest to probably just send a message on Instagram at Misophonia Podcast, follow there, or Facebook at Misophonia Podcast, or Twitter at Misophonia Show. Support the show by visiting the Patreon at patreon.com/Misophonia Podcast. Music, as always, is by Moby. And until next week, wishing you peace and quiet.